are the champion, the one that holds the line and finishes the mission. Everything that you want is within your grasp. You wake up in the morning ready to dominate the day, and every step taken is with purpose and integrity. Because you were not put on this planet to live a mediocre existence. You are here to conquer and make the biggest impact possible, not only for yourself, but for your family and for your tribe. This world is a battlefield, and we will be victorious. This is the Norse Mentality.
What's up, guys? I hope that you are having a glorious day. If this is your first time listening to the Norse Mentality, my name is Andy Lewis, and with me here is the cowboy himself, Cody Whitley. This podcast is designed to help you level up physically, mentally, and spiritually. And on this episode, we're going to tackle the physical aspect. Now, the main question that we get asked from people that listen to this podcast is how to stay consistent in the gym. And this is something that I struggled with when I first started working out. I'm sure that you struggled with it as well. So if this is you, don't beat yourself up. Don't start with this all negative self-talk shit and all that. Like, just realize that this is very common. We need to develop a strategy here. We need to have a plan of attack of how we're going to make a lifestyle change where this just becomes second nature for you, which that's what's going to happen. And that's what we're going to help you with on this episode. So when I started working out, I was in my early 20s, 18, 19, 20, something like that. And for years, there was this common trend of working out for 2 to 3 weeks and then taking 2 weeks off, then 2 to 3 weeks, taking 2 weeks off. And finally, after way too long, I realized that this was a trend. And I was like, okay, well, I need to change this. So then I set a non-negotiable rule for myself where I was going to go 4 days a week. I don't remember exactly what days that was, but I'm guessing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that. But when I set that non-negotiable, everything changed for me. I did not miss those 4 days, and I don't think I have missed those 4 days since I've started, except for like if I was on vacation or something like that. But either way, like setting that non-negotiable for me, having enough self-awareness to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. This is not working for me. This is not the direction that I want to go. What do I need to do to change that? And then making those rules and sticking to it. And then over time, developing that habit and that lifestyle. How did it work for you? Because you indicated that, you struggled with the same thing.
Yeah, I started lifting late teens, early 20s when I was in college. This was 8 to 10 years ago, somewhere around then. And when I started working out, it was during that whole time frame where all the big pro bodybuilders, all the big athletes, no one would come out and say that they were on PEDs. It was just this grind culture where you need to be in the gym 6 to 7 days a week, or else you're not going to look like this person, or this person.
Yeah, they're 300 pounds of straight muscle because they're taking creatine and eating their protein.
That was the narrative,
right?
For sure.
Exactly, and then getting in there and working out 7 days a week.
Right. Yeah, and that alone created a pretty toxic culture, not just for myself, but I think a lot of upcoming lifters too.
I fell into it as well for years.
The sticking to it very consistently, starting out the gate with that mindset was very difficult for me because, it helped that I was at the age I was for recovery purposes, but it also created unrealistic expectations and goals in my head.
And because you have those unrealistic expectations and goals and you weren't reaching those goals, that's where the toxic mindset and everything started coming in, the negative self-talk and stuff like that, which I'm sure we all have at some point in this, especially nowadays with social media when we're comparing ourselves to everybody else. We'll see someone on social media and they look a certain way or they've lost a certain amount of weight or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm not doing that. I must be a failure. You don't know what this person is doing. They might be 100% dialed in with their diet, and that's why they look how they do. They might be busting ass in the gym more than you are. That might be a fact. Or they might be on steroids and you don't stand a fucking chance.
Or using Photoshop to Photoshop.
That's the thing too. They have apps now that can put abs on you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So with that being said, don't believe what you see on the internet. Unless you were working out with someone in the gym, you're talking to them, you're seeing what they're doing, you're having these conversations and stuff like that. And even then, take it with a grain of salt because my man might be in the bathroom blasting some trend, having a good old time. So the only thing that we need to focus on here is our own progress. But whether you're getting started in the gym, you have been in the gym for a while, whatever it is, the first place that we need to start here is setting your intention. Discovering your why. Why do you want to work out? Why do you need to work out? What are the motivating factors here that you can rely on when you do start losing that willpower? That's where that intention comes in. That intention is that internal fire that keeps you going. And you can remind yourself of that, but you're never going to remind yourself of what that intention is until it is set. So taking the time to discover your why. Why are you working out? For me, it has changed numerous times over the past 10 to 12 years. Originally, it started out because I was depressed. I was extremely depressed. I was at rock bottom. I was a degenerate. I was drinking whiskey every night, eating pizza. If I was eating, some weeks I was just surviving off whiskey alone. That was what I was doing at that time in my life. And I was spiraling out of control. And I was like, okay, I need to do something different. This is not the path that I want to go. I know that I'm destined for greater things, and I'm not going to get to these things if I stay here. So I started going to the gym, and I immediately found that outlet that was more positive. It made me feel good. And that's when I started getting obsessed with it. Then it got into aesthetics, what you were talking about. I wanted to look a certain way. I wanted to be as strong as these people that were also going to the gym. I wanted to be as strong as people that I saw on social media, stuff like that. And that lasted for a while, up until about 2 years ago, around the age 29, 30, it completely shifted to, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be able to perform. I want to be able to hike. I want to be able to fight. I want to be able to lift weights. I want to look good. I want to do all of these different things, not only for myself, but for my family. I have a 5-year-old little girl. Actually, she's 6 now, but back then, she was 4 or 5. I have a girlfriend that I'm planning on having a future with. I want to make sure that I'm there for them. I also want to grow Norse Fitness into this huge empire. That cannot happen if I am not taking care of myself physically, because I cannot perform mentally with business if my body is suffering. Those two play hand in hand together, and people don't want to think about it like that, but they do. Those two are connected. That's why, gut health, if you have shitty gut health, you have brain fog and everything else. Well, if you have brain fog, you're not doing a goddamn thing to your fullest potential on a mental aspect of it. So over the years, just with those 3 things, I'm probably missing a couple motivators there, but the whole motive, the intention has changed, and that's okay. It's going to change. I'm sure mine's going to change as well. I'm sure it's going to stay on this whole health thing for the rest of my life, because I want to live to be 150. But either way, that's what has happened for me. And I know that yours has been very similar.
Yeah, pretty spot on to your same reasoning. I will touch on the point of doing this for overall health. The cool thing about gearing your mind to do that from an overall health standpoint is you don't just get the physical activity in. You're also eating correctly. You're doing the right things, meditating, breath work for mental reasons. You're trying to fix all your shit. Your external is a direct reflection of your internal environment.
Exactly.
And the cool thing is, once you gear your mind that way, the aesthetics and the strength and everything that, the shallow rooted why that we discussed, that just becomes secondary.
It just happens on its own.
Yeah, it just happens when you get your mind geared to, I want to do this for longevity reasons. I want to do this for my overall health too.
Because think about it. If your main focus is being healthy, you just want to be the best version of yourself. You want to have energy. You want to be able to stack as many victories as possible on a daily basis. The only way that happens is if you're performing at your best mentally and physically. Now, if you're eating all the right foods, if you're making sure that you're exercising, you're living an active lifestyle, all of this different stuff, you're going to level up aesthetically. Your aesthetics are going to get better. You're going to get stronger. There's no way that you're not going to continue improving compared to like what you're saying, where, okay, my intent here is just very shallow. I don't really have a real reason besides I want to look better than this person over there. Well, you're also operating at a very toxic mindset there, where you're comparing yourself to other people. Your mood itself is probably going to be lower because it's out of envy and stuff like that, compared to just I love myself and I'm going to do the best for myself because I want to live the best life possible for as long as I can. That alone if you're operating in a state of envy and jealousy and stuff like that, like those are lower energy frequencies there. You're not going to have as much energy. You're not going to be in good moods. You're not going to be loving life compared to just like, I just get after it every day for myself and for my family. And so I can be healthy. All these other things that you want, like you were saying, to have a better body, to look better in the mirror, to get stronger, to be able to do all of this different stuff is just going to come as a secondary thing. It just happens naturally here. But it all starts with setting that intention. Why do we want to do that? I cannot stress this enough. This is the most important thing, because if you're falling off track, it's because you don't know why you're getting into the gym in the first place, or you haven't dissected it enough. You haven't asked why enough times. And what I mean by that is, why am I working out? I want to look better. Why do you want to look better? I want to get a girlfriend. I want to get a boyfriend, whatever it is. Okay, why do you want a girlfriend? See, like it can start getting pretty deep very quickly just by continuously asking yourself, why? Why do I want to do this? Well, why do I want to do that? Continue asking yourself that until you get to the core there. That is the true intention. And that true intention is the fire that will keep you going as we move forward. So now that we have the intention set, you can rely on this till the end of time. You can write it down every day if you want, whatever you need to do, but this is your intention. These are logs that will feed your fire. It's the gasoline. Next, we need to start developing the habit. How many days a week are you going to get into the gym? You need to set that non-negotiable rule that you do not break, because here's the thing, guys. When you break that non-negotiable, you have to deal with yourself, because there's a part of you that is going to be very disappointed that you did not stay up, that you did not stick to your word. Letting yourself down is the worst feeling. We can let down our friends. We can let down our family. Those are all terrible things. But when you let yourself down, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I did not show up. And you have two different options when that happens. You either do what needs to get done, or you allow that negative self-talk to fester and to grow until you're depressed and you're not doing a goddamn thing. And then 3 months go by and you haven't been back to the gym. So when we set this non-negotiable, we need to stick to it, because we don't want to deal with the repercussions. And the repercussions is ourself.
When you set the non-negotiable to, we go ahead and put a quantitative number on it. Because what that's going to do in your head is, say you set, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week, or versus I'm just going to go to the gym this week. What's going to happen is your brain's going to do this cool little thing it likes to do, where you get to the gym on Monday and you have a good workout. And then, maybe you go back Tuesday and you have a good workout, and then you maybe not filling up to the capacity on Wednesday. And you're going to be like, all right, well, I worked out this week anyway, I'm good to go. Besides having that number where you can be like, all right, 3 days this week, 4 days this week, I need to be in the gym. And it's easily trackable. Now, if you are just getting started in the gym, the most important thing you can do is just go.
Just go.
Don't worry about the number, because what's going to happen is in your head, you're going to get real like ahead of yourself. And it's not a bad thing, but you're going to try to go to the gym 5 days a week. And if you've never lifted a weight before, that first day is going to ruin you for days. You're going to be so sore that you're not going to be able to move.
Especially your first leg day.
Yeah. If you really get in there and get after it the first day in the gym, you're going to hurt. So be realistic about your goals and understand that, this is lifting weights is adaptable. You're not just going to jump into it and be automatically great at it straight out of the gate. Your body has to adapt to the stress you're putting it under.
We also have to recognize the fact here that what we're doing is developing a lifestyle. This is not something that we're only doing to reach one goal and then we stop. The whole point in going to the gym and pursuing physical fitness in general is, I want to make this a lifestyle. I want to do this till the end of time, until I am laying on my deathbed, because I want the best for myself. And we live in a world where we don't really have to be physical, but we have to be physical in order to survive. So if you want to live a long, happy, healthy life, which should be your main goal here, we need to develop a new lifestyle. And the way that we do that is by setting that non-negotiable there in the beginning. And then over time, you don't need that non-negotiable, because it's just something that you do, which leads me to my next point: develop the habit. Now, the way that we develop that habit is by sticking to the non-negotiable. Okay, I'm going to go 3 to 4 days not 3 or 4. Like set that strict number there. I'm going to go 3 days. I'm going to go 4 days. I'm going to go 5 days. Whatever works best for you and your schedule. But like Cody said, make sure that you're being realistic here. If you work a lot and you can only realistically get in there and have a good session 3 days a week, that's fine. That's completely okay. I only work out 3 days a week because my life is so hectic. Now, I do other things on top of that, like hiking, and when I can, I'll get into martial arts and stuff like that. But I'm working out 3 days a week because I'm being realistic. The times that I have not been realistic with myself, something suffered as a result. But if we stick to these non-negotiables, over time, that's going to develop into a habit. It takes 60 to 90 days to develop a new habit. Guys, if you can do this for 90 days, every week you're getting in there 3 to 4 days, whatever you decide on, I promise you, you will not struggle with going to the gym anymore. For multiple reasons, but for one, it is developing a new habit. And as we develop habits, productive habits, we are developing discipline. Now, the reason that you are not able to continuously go to the gym after a few weeks without falling off track is because you don't have enough discipline yet. But luckily for you and everyone else on this planet, discipline is a learned trait. That is something that we're not necessarily born with. It is something that we develop over time, and we develop it by sticking to habits. Habits that serve us, not habits that are depleting us.
90 days. We're talking 3 months. That is 12 weeks. 3 times a week for 12 weeks. You're just talking 36 sessions over a 90-day period.
You got to go to the gym 36 times, guys.
That's very, very manageable. And while we're on the topic of gym sessions, they do not have to be two and a half hour gym sessions. Now, when I started, that's what I thought I needed to do. That's not the case. Hour is plenty of time if you get in and get after
45 to 60 minutes of just straight intensity getting after it is more than enough.
Now, this habit we're creating and this lifestyle change that we're making here is just physical activity. Even if you can't get to the gym, the goal here is to just move. Create this habit of you doing physical activity. And you can also set the same amount of quantitative goals with this as well. Besides just being like, well, I need to get in the gym 4 to 5 days a week. You just need to move 4 to 5 days a week, especially if you have no baseline straight out the gate.
The only thing with that is make sure that if you're moving, you're actually putting in the work.
Correct.
Like you're still exerting yourself.
Yeah.
When you go into the gym, that's a pretty big victory compared to just like going outside. And I walked around my neighborhood, so that was active today. Like, no, like make sure that you're getting after. Well, let's set a time limit then. You know what I mean? Like, let's make sure that you're being active for 45 to 60 minutes. So if you're not able to get into the gym, like Cody said, that's completely okay. But don't bullshit yourself here. Like 45 to 60 minutes. That's what we need to be reaching here.
And that was a big turning point for me mentally too, because like I had mentioned previously, when I started lifting, it was gym. Like if I didn't go to the gym that day, I felt almost worthless, which is a terrible place to be. And then my weeks now, I'm in the gym 3 days a week. And I'm okay with that because the other days during the week, I'm still moving. But it's, like you said, it needs to be pretty directed because those other days that I am moving out of the gym is either hiking or Muay Thai, something that's very intense that might not be weightlifting related.
Right. And that's the thing is we should be pursuing different avenues. That's a topic for a different episode. But yeah, like just make sure that you're moving. If you set that non-negotiable for 4 days a week, make sure you're moving 4 days a week. Now, that doesn't mean that we're just fucking lazy on those off days. The reason that you're sore after working out is because you have a buildup of lactic acid, delayed onset muscle soreness. All that shit plays hand in hand. I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to go into that, but that is why you're sore is that lactic acid. The best way to get that lactic acid to start moving and out of your system is by moving, going on walks, going on a light hike, being active, still moving. So we're not just working out 4 days a week and then the other days we're just being a lazy piece of shit. Like, no, we're still moving. We're still getting after it in some sort of way. What I like to do is hit 10,000 steps every day. I've been doing this for years, and whenever I don't hit 10,000 steps, I suffer in every way possible. My body starts to hurt more. I'm definitely more sore after workouts. I start to decline mentally, just those 10,000 steps really help me on a daily basis. Now, do I hit it every day? Sometimes not. Sometimes it might be 7,000, 8,000. But that's a good rule for me to follow because it's like, okay, I'm at least going to try to get as close to that 10,000 as possible to make sure that I'm still moving because a lot of my job is sitting down, which is probably most people listening to this podcast. So like Cody said, just make sure that you're moving. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the gym, but make sure you're exerting yourself, that you're making progress, and that you're sticking to that time frame that you allowed yourself every week. Now, we're developing this habit. Like Cody said, it's 36 days over a 3-month time period. That's not that much, guys. Like, you can do that. Everyone can do that. You don't have to kill yourself in the gym or anything. I actually advise you not to kill yourself in the gym when you're getting started. Start off small and work your way up because you don't want to burn out. This is the same thing when it comes to nutrition, working out, signing up for a gym and all this. Because we own a gym called the Norse Compound. It's right next, actually, it's right on the other side of this wall right here. And people come in here all the time. They're fired up. They're ready to make some changes. And I fucking love that. There's no better feeling than someone just hauling ass into the gym and be like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, hey, cool. Let's stop. Take a step back. What are your goals? What are you trying to do? I'm going to do this. 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 Okay, well, all that's great. And you can do all that. But what I would recommend you doing is just starting off with one thing. Doing that for 60, 90 days. Once you're comfortable there, you've developed this new habit, it's starting to become a lifestyle, then we move on to the next thing. The reason I brought up the nutrition thing is because most of the time that plays hand in hand. People start going to the gym and they know they also need to start eating right, which you do. But those are two different things. Eating is 80% of our day, 90%, whatever. The gym is a couple days a week. So yes, nutrition is important, but we need to pick and choose what are we doing here. If you want to start going to the gym and make that a habit, then just focus on going to the gym. Don't kill yourself in there. Just get a solid routine down, which I also recommend that. Like, you can go online. We have an online coaching platform called Norse Army. We've done plenty of podcasts with other coaches that have their own thing. Like, find a workout program to follow and stick to that. Just start eating healthier. You know what is healthy. You don't need to follow a strict meal plan because when we start following a strict meal plan on top of trying to work out, develop this new habit of working out and stuff like that, we're going to burn out. We just need to tackle one thing at a time. And then once we tackle one thing, we can move on to the next. But it usually happens around that 90-day mark. So we've developed a habit, and because we've developed a habit, now we're building discipline. And the main thing that you guys are going to see here is when you start developing discipline in one thing, you start developing discipline in everything. And it is such a beautiful thing. You no longer have to force yourself to work. You just work. And the reason for that is because a lot of times you're not going to feel like going to the gym, but you're going to get your ass in there. And because you're doing something that you don't want to do, that means you're overriding procrastination. Well, if you override procrastination one time, you're going to override it again because procrastination is a negative habit. How do we destroy negative habits? We reinforce them with positive ones. We destroy them. They're an obstacle. We get them the fuck out of our way. We overcome them and we keep moving forward. And every time that you overcome procrastination, it gets easier and easier to do it in every aspect of your life. So that right there should be a motivator as well. It's like, okay, I dragged myself into the gym, and this isn't going to only benefit me physically, it's also going to benefit me in every other aspect of my life. Like, that's something to look forward to. So we have the intention, we have the habit, which leads into discipline. What would you say is next?
I would say that it is very important to track your progress and also reflect internally. That's if you think you're going to go to the gym every day and perform at your maximum ability, you're setting yourself up for failure straight out the gate. There'll be days where, there was I forgot who I originally heard this from, but say we have 10 workouts, maybe 2 or 3 of those are going to be great. The majority of those are going to be, mediocre, and then a few of those are just going to be absolute shit. But it comes from being very aware of your internal state. Say you don't lift on the weekends, and then Monday rolls around, and that's your first day in the gym. Well, the food you ate over the weekend, the recovery you got over the weekend, hopefully, is going to make that Monday workout primed for a good high percentage of a good workout. If you really get after it on Monday, The next day, you're probably not going to be at 100% ready to go.
Because you're still trying to recover from the weekend.
Correct. And you need to know that straight out of the gate. Every day is not going to be 100% your best, but we give 100% every day that we can.
Yeah.
So that first workout of the week might be fucking fantastic, man. And then the Wednesday or Thursday workout where you're starting to slowly inch into that depletion before like a big refeed or before you really get like your nutrition dialed in, because it takes a while. Know that you can't go 100% or it's going to make things harder for you in the future.
So tracking your progress over a longer period of time is where that comes into hand, is because, yeah, maybe you had a shit week of just nothing but shit workouts. A lot of different things outside of the gym were happening in your life and they were taking its toll. You still got in there, but they weren't great workouts. Okay, well, you can look at the week before that and then going into the next week, you go, okay, well, like I'm going to do better this week. And because you've been tracking your weight physically and also the weight that you're putting on the bar during your sets and stuff like that, you can see progression there. And we should be progressing. We need to be progressing, especially when it comes to weight. Now, it's also celebrating your victories. It's taking that time to be like, fuck yes, I have been to the gym 4 days a week for the past 3 months. I am a fucking champion. I am on fire. I'm going to keep going. You have to celebrate those victories. Instead of comparing yourself to other people, like, well, they went 5 days. I only went 4 days. Like, who gives a fuck? You went 4 days. Congratulations, because 3 months ago, you weren't going at all. Celebrate your victories. Celebrate yourself. Do something nice for yourself. Whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. But we need to be celebrating our victories, because each victory that we stack, that's developing us into the person that we want to be. The whole reason that we started going to the gym in the first place is because we were not happy with who we currently are. That's a hard pill to swallow, but that's it. You're here right now and you know that you can be here. So what do we need to do? We need to start going to the gym. You want to develop into a different person. You want to create a new identity for yourself. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge the effort that you are putting in to become a better person, because here's the thing. Most people won't fucking do it. 90% of this country will not fucking stick to it. They remain the same person from the time they're 20 years old until they're 70 years old. And then they fucking die and they never even came close to doing anything worth a fuck with themselves. You do not want to be that type of person. I know you don't want to be that type of person because you're listening to this podcast right now. You're trying to figure out how you can improve. But here's the thing. You can't just listen to a podcast and expect results to happen. We have to put in the fucking work. We need to take what we learn and we need to apply it to our life. Now, not everything that me and Cody are talking about may apply to you, and that's okay. We're just trying to give our general information out to you, hoping that it helps. But listening to a podcast, watching YouTube videos, doing whatever the fuck you do, reading books, that does not mean anything if we are not putting it into action. But you're going to put it into action because you want better for yourself. You want better for your tribe. You want more out of life. And the only way that we do that is by developing these new habits and actually sticking to them over time. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Norse Mentality. This podcast is a byproduct of Norse Fitness. We make clothing, fitness accessories, supplements, and other tools to help you reach your true potential. You can check it out at norsefitness.co. And if you found this episode beneficial, please share it with a friend. That way we can continue to make a bigger impact and change the world. Thank you for your support, and we'll talk to you soon.